Hi everybody, my name is Aníbal Tavares Azevedo and now we are in the video number 9 of track 1 and we are trying to develop the class to represent a container ship and just to apply your or very interesting and different concept of artificial intelligence in supply chain. Now we're gonna start from zero. We have seen very interesting code and on previously class. A card will appear about this class, but this class now I have also code in the description of this video. And what we're gonna do now is very simple, but we're gonna use some concepts from previously class, but I hope you this is a simple code that we're gonna do now. So first we're gonna need some libraries, but first I will use a color map, and this color map it will be a dictionary. So I have the key. A key is an integer number, and the value will be a string with the color that will be related with this key. So I have light blue for 0, blue for 1, and 2 for 2 we'll have, let me see the color, light green, yellow, and red. Okay, so 2 is gonna be light green, 3 is gonna be the yellow, and finally the number 4 will be red. So after defining this dictionary that relate integer numbers to colors, now we should create. So let's start seeing the if that is okay. We defined correctly the dictionary. Now I have the ship, and the ship will be a vector of matrices. Okay, so each matrix will be a bay of the container ship. So I will need the library numpy, and I will use a short name np instead of using numpy. So np dot zeros, and I will use these dimensions 2, 3, and 4. And what these dimensions means? It means I will have 2 bays, and each bay will be a matrix with 3 lines and 4 columns. Okay, so let's see ship. Ship now is represented like that. This is the first bay, this is the second bay. Each bay has 3 lines and 4 columns. So what is the next step here? I can change these 0 elements. These 0 elements can be different from 0, and I can refer to each element using this kind of indexing. Okay, so the first index is about which bay. We select the bay using the first index. Index 0 is this bay. Index 1 will be the second bay. Index 1, this second index here, will be the line to be selected. So this is the line 0, the line 1, and the line 2 of the first bay. So if we choose the number 1, this is the line that I choose it. And this finally, this third index is the index about columns. So a column is indexed by 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So here the number 1 will be here. So I will change this element. Let's see if it's true. So I changed the 0 element here to 1, and also I can change another element. Let's change it. So I can change element in the second bay using number 2. I can change the element on the second bay again, but in another line. And finally, I can change everything in the first bay, in first column and first row. So this is the way that I'm drawing ship. Obviously, this is not a very good way to show the containers inside a container ship. And how I can change this? I can use commands like fig make subplots. So, and I will select row will be the length, the size, or the number of base. So you have imagine that each subplot will be related to each bay. So I have two bays, so I will get this number of bays by doing this command. And finally, cols will be the number of columns. So I will present in the same way that is here, but instead of using numbers, I will use some graphics, okay? Okay, so now I need three commands for. Each command for will be related to a kind of search the elements to find the right elements. Here, this first for is about the for a bay. Okay, so I will find the elements, but first I will select the base. So this is the for the loop for the base. The second loop will be the loop for range. Now I will select range to ship. So I selected the first bay, and since I selected the first bay, I will have the size or the number of lines. So here, this command will give to us the number of lines. Okay, and finally, the last loop will be about the number of columns. So I have to select this one. Oops. Now it's complete. I forget this. Okay, so what I should do at for each element, I should draw uh, a rectangular figure. So inside this rectangular figure I should have a text with the number which is the destination of this container for a specific container. Imagine this element is a container, is an empty space, another container, another empty space. So now I should use this. How I can draw a rectangle? I should use fig add trace and should use go dot scatter. So I will make a scatter graph, but this scatter graph has some parameters, and the first parameter is related with the x coordinates. For I have 4 points to determine using this scatter command. Okay, so I will have this, and I will need also the coordinates in terms of, okay, it's difficult to see. Okay, now here we are showing the right way here of coordinates. So these are the coordinates to the points that we will construct the border of the rectangle. And finally, I have fill here. This parameter is just to determine that is necessary to fill the rectangle, and I will use opacity. And finally, I will need a fill color map. Fill color is map. So when I call color map, I will use the number inside the of each element in this matrix here, vector of matrix. So this is the a trick command. I would use ship, and how I refer to a specific element, this, using the notation of numpy. It's not correct here. Let's change here. Now it's correct. Okay, so this is the way that I I find some specific element, and finally I should close this scatter. After I close this scatter, I could go on row 1 plus a 1 plus 1 co equal to 1. So after this, I created a rectangle, but I also need to create a text inside this rectangle. Okay, so it's a kind of the same thing here, the same command, but now it's a little bit different because we're gonna use just one coordinate to position the text correctly, and this position will be computed by using this. Okay, it's just to understand this, it will work correctly. Don't worry. We find these coordinates after exhausting tests, and okay, so these coordinates, it's gonna be as in the center of the rectangle. There are no fill parameter. Instead of using this, I have the text parameter, and the text parameter will be a list of string and ship a j k. Okay, finally I need the mode. We're gonna be the text, and after I produce a scatter go, I will also use row and call as I have here. So finally, when I finish this, I should show the figure after adding these elements to the figure. So I finally show after adding all elements. Okay. So okay, we have here some problems with the commands, and fig equal to make subplots rows. It's here. The syntax was wrong here. And I remember that in the description of this video, I have all this code. So it worked, and you can ask me if I could simplify this code. Yes, I can make it more simple. Although this is already simple, I can remove this and define before this code a function here, def add create rect, and I will need k, j, and also I will need this element, so this will be element. So if I have k, j, an element, I can perform a plot. Also I need a jk values here. Okay, so I must return figure, and so I should pass also fig parameter, because I will pass the last value of figure and update this, adding this scatter. So I could call this command by using this function. Okay, so I can use here. This is just one option that you have to make the code more clean. Okay, so since it worked, since I showed that it worked, and finally we should return this figure to a variable named as figure to update the last value of figure after calling this function. Okay, and after this I can also create a new function here. In the same way, I can create legend, and the parameters gonna be the same. You're gonna need big A J. Okay, let's uh, take some care. Okay, J K. The order matters, so take care about this, because if you don't want to have some side effects or predictable effects, you should take care of the order of the parameters you are calling the function. Because okay, now it's correct here. We are all using this. This is the element mode. It's okay. So I should return figure. And finally, this is not good because okay, now I believe this is correctly aligned. Okay, the alignment is okay, and I should call also an update create legend. This one. Okay. So now let's test this code again, and if see it's working well. Yeah, it worked, but we have a more clear code here because these repeating commands are just more simple, correct, and correctly on grouped on function create rectangle and create legend. So in the description of this video you will find this code, and you can use it for to perform some tests, to change colors, and see what happens. Okay. Oh, I know that there is some strange text near the figure. We can remove this. I will show how you can do this, but first, in the next video I will show how we can start to construct finally the container ship class. We already performed the most difficult task, which is to draw the figure related with the container ship, and after this we can use this code to to complete the class container ship. But in the next class we're gonna start simple, using some information from this video, using some data structures to create the correctly the class container ship. Okay, so thank you for your attention. I hope you find this video interesting and useful and make some okay for me. And if you have some comments, please leave this on the video, on this video. Thank you, and I hope you find in the next video. See you. Bye.